What is a mortgage broker? Because we get new listeners all the time, new people to the country all the time. What exactly is the difference between a broker and just another avenue for getting a mortgage?
Okay, so there's lots of ways to get a mortgage. Obviously, we believe that the best mortgage and the best mortgage advice comes from a mortgage broker. So the real difference is we deal with a variety of different lenders. We're doing the due diligence. We are getting your application, we're pulling your credit, we're reviewing your income, and we're reviewing your assets, and then making a plan on what the best way to move forward is. Everybody's situation is different. Every mortgage is like a snowflake. It's not a one-size-fits-all. The other thing is, I've been doing this a long time. Coming up on $2 billion worth of mortgages funding. That's a lot of freaking mortgages in Halifax, people, I can tell you right now.
Yeah, it is.
And we're still around.
Yeah.
People at the branches, they change all the time. And, I think some people are loyal to their bank branch, but the bank is not so much loyal to you.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's not just about rate, Todd. If it was just about rate, I don't think I'd have a job.
Yeah.
Because the people that are looking for the lowest rate, they don't want the advice. And the lowest rate isn't always the best rate. Yeah, we want to be competitive. We want to be in the marketplace. But when we're talking about 5, 10, 15, 20 basis points in the difference in the rate, it really doesn't make a difference. You need to get the advice where you're going to trust the people that you're working with. And for me, I have a vested interest. I don't get paid unless I do a mortgage. I also want to make sure I put my client in the best possible product to make sure their finances are protected, and we put them in the best possible financing for their needs. So then when their mortgage comes up for renewal, they feel they got good advice, and they did, and they come back to us.
And they don't have to pay you?
We're paid by the lender.
That's right, the lender pays
As long as it's prime lending, we are paid by the lender.
Right.
Anytime that we do alternative lending, private lending, commercial, yes, sometimes the client does pay.
Might be a fee of some sort.
90% plus of what we do every day is prime lending. And a lot of the business that we do every day are with banks that you do business with as well. Bank branches right from the corner.
Yeah.
And why does the bank pay me when they have employees in these branches to do mortgages?
Yeah. You answer the question.
They pay me because it's a lot cheaper and more efficient to deal with me than it is with their own employees. And mortgage lending is a complex widget. And they want to make sure that their customers are getting the very best advice. And we are actually bringing a lot of new customers into the bank. So, and it's changed really around, at least in the last 20 years, because I started 20 years ago. It's hard to believe. It feels like yesterday. And I love it. And I love it every day. And hopefully our listeners can feel that and hear that from our show. It's all about education. But when I started 20 years ago, 60% of mortgages were still being done in the branch and 40% were being done by brokers. And I heard a stat the other day of first-time home buyers, 90% are happening with brokers.
Wow.
And 10% in the branch. Eventually, bank branches will not do mortgages. That's just reality. And some banks already, they're not doing mortgages in the branch. If you want a mortgage specifically from that bank, you have to go see a mortgage specialist. But the difference between even a mortgage specialist and us, they only have one lender. We have 40 plus. And again, everybody's situation is different. And if it doesn't work with one lender, it could work with another. Plus, we're able to package it up and give it its best foot forward.
Yeah, I met a client of yours this week.
Okay.
When I was doing business. And he said that he bought a condo. He was able to buy a condo in a nice part of the city, not far from here. And he said that he got no everywhere. And you told him, I'm going to get you this mortgage. And you did.
You know what? We do this every day.
Yeah.
And, I think sometimes people just think they get no once and no one can do it. Specifically self-employed people.
Yeah, and this was a self-employed.
See, so many of our clients are self-employed because they've had a bad experience with a bank branch. And the banks in general, they don't necessarily understand self-employment. And there's different types of self-employment. And different lenders have different appetites. That's just the reality of the situation. And I think a lot of our self-employed transactions we do, sometimes are stated income. And the banks don't do that type.
What type of income did you say?
Like stated income.
Explain what that is.
So that may be, you have your income that's on your income tax. And then there's income where you state what your income is.
Right.
And sometimes that may be backing out some expenses. It may be looking at maybe income that's in a corporation, or maybe the income that's on your income tax the last 2 years aren't representative of the income that is today. So maybe there's been a big change, but you can't qualify on your normal process. So we have to do a stated income program where you say, hey, my income is $50,000 or my income's $150,000. And then we still have to justify it. Typically with those programs, we still would get like 12 months of your bank statements, and we need to, justify the income and how does that income, be supported by maybe invoices and bank statements and things like that. But it's not income that we would traditionally use from your income tax.
Yeah. Of course, and credit. We want to talk quickly about credit. Credit is key. I mean, it's obviously very important. It's right up there with income, obviously, right?
Definitely, credit's so important. There's two credit reporting agencies in Canada, and this will be my quick hit here. There's Equifax and there's TransUnion. It's really made up of some key factors. One is your payment history. Pay your bills on time. So many times I see a $10 missed payment. Come on, people, come on. Yeah. Get your payments automatic. And also monitor your limits. So the limit compared to the balance is really important. So you want high limits and low balances. Mm-hmm. You want to owe a very small percentage of your balance. Once you get up to a higher amount, that can bring your credit score down. And the other thing is really going to be your lender mix. If all of your credit accounts are from, subprime lenders, that's going to be an issue. Mm-hmm. If all your credit accounts are from banks and credit unions, that will help.
What about car loans?
Car loans are good. I think having a mix between car loans, leases, and revolving is important. If you have all revolving, that's not going to be great. If you have all installment, that's not going to be great either.
What do you mean revolving?
Revolving would be like credit cards, lines of credit.
I see. Yeah, I see. So if you're always catching up on a credit card every month, that's a revolving.
The revolving accounts are normal, but use it and pay it, and pay it. And those accounts are really meant to be paid off every month. Yeah, not everybody can, but get it paid down and keep it paid down and try to spend within that spending limit. Again, not everybody can. And the lucky ones who have equity in their properties, are able to refinance and oftentimes get, some of this higher cost credit paid down.
Yeah. And of course, to use the term that you've, I don't know if you've coined it or not, but I'll suggest that you have. You've made it popular, is don't ostrich.
Don't ostrich. If you need help, ask. And open your mail. Know what your finances look like. And if you have a mortgage coming up for renewal, reach out to your unbiased mortgage professional, whoever that may be, 120 days prior. We want to hear from you early. Earlier, the better. We can make a plan and really get your finances in order.
And as far as monitoring credit
so there's two really good ways to do it, and there's two free apps. They might try to sell you some advertising, but who cares? There's Borrowell and there's Credit Karma. Borrowell's tied on to Equifax, and Credit Karma is tied on to TransUnion. These are both free apps that you can download from the Apple App Store or the Google Play store. You can certainly download these apps. You have to give them your personal information, but they'll monitor your credit. They'll monitor inquiries. They'll give you advice on how you can improve your credit as well. I recommend everyone having them. There also are paid services, both from Equifax and TransUnion. If you don't want to be sold the ads, you can certainly pay, and they're anywhere from $20 to $30 a month per credit reporting agency.
Well, and in the era of security breaches that we're living in as well, I mean, you just with information,
it may be worth it for people to pay the $20 or $30 if that's for their peace of mind. I like the free apps. I use them myself, but it's not for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. So also, if you have a partner or somebody who you're buying with and you're not sure what their credit situation is,
get them to download the apps.
Have the uncomfortable conversation.
Have the conversations now. So many times I have to be the bad guy and I have to share the bad news. Have an idea what your credit looks like. Sometimes people are like, my credit's kind of not so good. And it's perfect. And some people are like, my credit's fine, and it's terrible. So I would have an idea of what your credit looks like. Get your payments to be automatic. Cell phones, student loans, credit cards, lines of credit. Pretty much every creditor now will offer automatic payments. I'd get them set up automatic, then you never have to worry about it again.
Yeah, and I would think that the majority of people who have their act together do that, right?
Yeah, I agree. And they also know what they owe. They know when their due dates are. And if you do have a credit card and you're high on the limit, pay it down before your statement generates, because whatever shows on your statement is what's going to show on your credit bureau.
All right. How do people get a hold of you, Clinton?
They can check us out online at teamclinton.ca/radio. We have hundreds of blog posts. We have a secure application on there, and there's links to our social accounts. You can see what Todd and I look like.
That's right.
And we roll our show out all month long, but you can certainly check it out on our website as well as on the 95.7 website as well.
Yeah, that's right. And always a pleasure, Clinton.
Thanks for having me, Todd.
Love it.
If you've liked what you've heard and you want to learn more, feel free to visit us online at teamclinton.ca.